Good morning. It's time to begin. It's 11 o'clock already. Let us not waste our time. We have to do everything we've planned, so let's not delay any further. I'm Lubomir Chorny. I will moderate this event. May I remind you that today we have a fair of projects within the framework of the project of the National Platform of MSE. The National Platform is the principal organizer of this event, and we are supported by the Center for International Private Enterprise, and we thank our partners for their support. We'll work in a combined format, so to speak. We'll communicate live, and it's very good because we haven't seen each other for quite some time. So today we'll talk to each other in flesh, and that's a big advantage. At the same time, at least two resources are communicating to different audiences our event online. Plus, other streamings are also quite possible. I think some will do it. So thus we'll have a chance to also talk to those who are online. We'll have two panels, but I'll focus on them later. And you'll have opportunities to ask questions of those who are in this room and for those who are near their screens. Those who are remote will ask their questions in the chat. Bogdan will monitor all these questions and hand them over to me, and we'll vocalize them. And now let's launch our event. And we'll begin with preambles from the organizers. I invite Oksana Olejnikova, Director of the Representative Office of the Center for International Private Enterprise. Oksana, the floor is yours. Thank you, Lubomir. Dear participants, welcome to Kiev. Welcome to this wonderful hotel. I thank the National Platform for the opportunity to hug each and every one of you. We haven't seen each other for a long time. While the members of the CIPE team do not see each other very often in Kiev, 2 weeks ago we met in Warsaw, although we are all in Kiev. But that's the way things are now. This year, CIPE marks 40 years of its existence. It's quite a jubilee. 40 years ago, the American Chamber of Commerce founded the center in order to support democratic and economic development and the implementation of different programs for the civil society, for public institutions, for think tanks, and for the media. CIPE has implemented 3,000 programs in several dozens of countries worldwide. Over the last 20 years, Ukrainian businesses and Ukrainian NGOs have been participating in this eventful history. In fact, you are creating this history, and we are just providing the opportunities for your growth. All the work is being done by you, by your organizations, by your businesses. And we are very proud of you. We are very proud of your resilience, of your continuity, of your commitment and devotion in how you carry your ideas out. The CIPE will further support you. This is what we've been doing for years. In fact, I want to thank all organizations who submitted their programs for participation in the fair. I thank the members of the committee who selected 10 projects that will be presented today, and I thank all the donors who devoted their attention to this fair. So I thank the NSE platform again, and I hope we'll have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you, Oksana. Certainly, we have to give the floor to the representative of the National Platform. So let me give the floor to Hanna Strekun. Good morning. I welcome and greet you on behalf of our platform and its team. Thank you for your time. For many years, we've been working as a communication and information platform. This year, we also became an organization with 26 members, and I hope that after this event, number 27 and number 28 will also join us. We are dreaming of the time when all our members get fully empowered. That's why we decided to hold this event. And you can visit our webpage and read about the 26 projects for which we are looking for donors. And I'm already thankful to the donors that will decide to support our project and help us to reach our aims. I thank everyone participating. And let's go ahead. Lubomir, the floor is yours again. Thank you, Hanna. So let's get right down to business. And I invite to this podium panelists of the first session. It's a panel of donors. Most of our panelists are representing Ukrainian and international donor organizations. Stanislav Pidopregora. Please proceed here. Stanislav is from SME Boost, run by International Organization for Migration. He is the national coordinator of this initiative. I also invite Ruslan Velichka Trifoniuk. Please take a seat over here. Ruslana is the first deputy of the executive director of the Ukrainian Veterans Fund. Ruslana, are you here? Not yet. Svetlana Stepashenko. Svetlana heads Fit for Partnership with Germany program office in Ukraine. Tatiana Onishuk is the Deputy Director of the Program Application and Implementation of the Association Agreement between the EU and Ukraine in the sphere of trade, EU for Business. Andrei Remizov. I think everyone knows Andrei. He heads Office for the Development of Enterprise and Export. Yulia Golovanova. She is the coordinator with a UNDP project that is strengthening member business associations of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in Ukraine, and Anastasia Baklan from CIPE Ukraine. They are our speakers. Several administrative matters. We've got two panels. The first panel is the donor panel, and during this panel, every participant, every panelist will have 5 to 7 minutes to tell us about the operations of the relevant organizations, initiatives, or projects. Anna Gladstein is from the Competitive Economy Program. Sorry for that. So the first panel, as I said, is the panel of donors with presentations from 5 to 7 minutes about the operations of the donor programs and projects. Then we'll have a Q&A session. Yulia Golovanova, we are waiting for you here. So those who are here will just pick up the mic from our assistant. And the other opportunity, as I've said, is for those who are watching us via Zoom or Facebook. Please write your questions in the chat, and Bogdan will hand the questions over to me, and I will forward them to our panelists. Each question is not to be more than 1 minute, and each answer not longer than 2 minutes. And another thing is something we haven't mentioned before. We are planning for a number of online activities after this fair as a follow-up on this initiative. During these online activities, representatives of donor organizations will have an hour or even 90 minutes to inform about all their initiatives, grants, trainings, consultancy efforts, whatever, everything that representatives of the Ukrainian businesses can avail of. Yulia, now the floor is yours. And the list of these online activities will be made public soon. Please also visit the webpage of the National Platform. You see the QR code. And our second panel will feature presentations of the projects and ideas initiated by different NGOs and business associations, and 10 such projects will be presented. They were selected by our committee. Also 5 to 7 minutes per presentation, with a possibility to ask questions of the speakers. we'll have only 15 minutes for our break, so please stick to the schedule. And you, dear representatives of the donors, now have the opportunity to brief us laconically about your activities, and you will have opportunities for a longer discourse during the online activity. So we begin. And Andrei Remizov will be the first to speak on behalf of the Office for the Development of Enterprise and Export. So, Andrei, the floor is yours.
Good morning, dear colleagues, entrepreneurs. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers, CIPE and the SME National Platform, that you have arranged for running this event, that you help entrepreneurs and business that create such opportunities for business, and entrepreneurs that you are attending this event and you're ready to develop despite the wartime and find opportunities for development. Today I would like to inform you briefly what are the tasks of the office and what are the opportunities available for you, because we have collected some information just yesterday. There are many for here for the first time that we are a state-run institution under the Cabinet Office of Ministers who are directly responsible for the support of the enterprise and supporting the entry into foreign markets. And we've had many directions of activities. So together with the Ministry of the Digitalization, we are implementing this DIA business. It's a separate project, part of the DIA software, and it's directly for entrepreneurs and the online component portal at which you can find ideas for initiating your own businesses, free of charge consultations. They are accessible, 60 types, 60 topics. This project is run for 3 years. We have widened a range of services providing free consultations. There are new educational programs, web-based projects starting with digitalization of business and also how to improve sales. This portal contains a lot of practical advices and directly the support to entrepreneurs. They are 13, one in Warsaw and 12 in Ukraine, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Odessa, Uzhgorod, Kremenchuk, Poltava, and other regions of Ukraine, and also as well as in cities. Directly, this is a digital space where entrepreneurs can get free consultations. I would like to draw attention to resources, funding, and how to attract investments. Presently, we have started just 100 businesses, and we've seen that only 40% of entrepreneurs, if I just surveyed, they use some assistance, including the assistance from the state. That's a major issue presently. Still, businessmen do not know what are the programs available for them. This topic is very relevant. We have created marketplace for the businesses, a separate service where 420 financial programs could be found. We have just included many banks working in Ukraine. We analyze all programs run by the state oblast administrations and in regions. You can find any type of financing, leasing, lending. It's no matter. I advise you to use this opportunity in a separate big area in exports field. There are opportunities how to make entry into different. And the columns news, you can find all relevant information and news on changes in legislation about new grant programs, what activities are run by the government, and so on. It's like India. You can use this link, you can scan it, Just yesterday with my colleagues, we have collected here all the programs for grants. I will read a program. There are program 20,000 hryvnias till the 19th one. The contest of the youth programs in the city of Belgrade. You can apply for 100 contest for finding just agricultural produce. 4.4 million hryvnias, a contest for young entrepreneurs, for women's enterprises, up to 125,000 US dollars. Grant support from the International Organization of Migration. There are many programs. I named only financial programs. There are also educational programs. And by using this link, you can find in the same space information about all these programs and to apply directly to the organizers of the program. There is a lending program for exporters. Those who can risk, you can use this link and submit an application for participating in this program. Also, export alliances started from the USAID. Quite a big amount of grants alliances will be helped on different fields. How to make entry into markets. I advise to pay attention to that program and directly to be in the focus and to know about all the relevant opportunities for businessmen. Just visit the website by using the list or just subscribe through Dia Business. They offer plans to organize at least 5 national pavilions during the exhibitions. It will be the machine building part for the producers of railway equipment, agrarian, pharmaceutical, medical fields, IT field will be included. So just all open calls available where we will be informed via these official resources. I advise to subscribe to see this opportunity. Will be informing our partners, business association, about all these services on this portal. I would like to thank you and I invite you to use these opportunities for you to, and I wish the victory to all of us. Thank you, Mr. Andrei. Once more, I would like to reiterate who has joined us online or has started to watch our today's fair. You have an opportunity to put your questions in the chat channels on this event, and we at the end can put these questions to participants of this panel to whom they relate. Now we have next donor organization, that organization because of which this event is run, CIPE, Center for International Private Enterprise. Mrs. Anastasia Beklan, you have the floor. Thank you, Lubomir. I start the time and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Give me the remote control. Okay. On behalf of CIPE, we are glad to be the partner of this event, our international organization from Washington, and we represent in different countries. It's enhancing democracy through private enterprise and market reform. Representative office in Kiev was opened 2010, although private activity started back in the 90s, and we have 6 of staff or communicate with private and public sectors. In particular, CIPE supports the networks of 200 business associations that represent over 40,000 SMEs across the entire country. Among our partners, such business Ukrainian Association of Entrepreneurs. Many organizations represented in this audience and are also online attending. Advocacy is that bottom line, which is very important for us. Advocacy is the protection advocating business interests to authorities. We support as lobbying, but in international practice, it is recommended to use the term advocacy, and as to protect collective interest of business brands. So we carried out it locally. These activities in contact with regional, state, organization, the level of the country, communicating with the Verkhovna Rada, with central authorities, as well as at the international level, for the voice of the Ukrainian business to be heard at the international level. Speaking about the level of the nationwide activities, business coalition was started in 2018-2019, when the initiative was initiated to act as a facilitator in advocacy. In what way it was run? They had a gathering and formed top 10 priorities for business. These were quite active discussions, but priorities including preservation, simplification of taxation, updating labor, digitalization, virtualization, many other things that are really important for business. And those results, which were proud indeed, that presently, despite the pandemics, despite a complex situation in the country, already 65% of those which are 10 top priorities were implemented through legislative acts, through other regulations. It's a good result because of our business associations. We work at the level of communities. 16 organizations are active implementing projects by two directions. Support of the private sector in recovery of logistics and trade, as training and integration of the staff at the local. For all our local partners, regional associations, we try to provide a platform for communication nationwide. The CIPE acts as an initiator or host of nationwide events for the dialogue between the business and the government, and we carry out this annually. Other areas, these are training programs carried out for the private sector and representatives of the public sector, particular sector initiative, as the Leadership Academy for Development that was implemented CIPE together with Stanford University and the Francis Fukuyama, renowned expert, arrived to Kiev to carry out his lectures for the representatives of the government and leaders in the private business. One of the first initial programs to enhance institutional capacity, to provide companies, organizations to advocate their interests, to diversify their budget, to be more capable in their activities. I try to be that was the graded of the program back in 2032. That's how we started our activities with CIPE. And many, which is for whom this is interesting, grant activities. We implement just 10 initiatives. The project aimed at the development of SME for enhancing private-public partnership to enhance in economic empowerment of women and fight against corruption. What is the algorithm for this cooperation? First and foremost, we announce standards, contests, where we select projects, or there is another arrangement when there is a request for assistance. And if it fully complies with CIPE objectives, then this cooperation is quite possible. On the whole, over 13 years, we implemented over 1,300 events for public, private sectors, conferences, roundtables, webinars, any format that you can think of, we were implementing. Or if you have some new ideas, it will be a pleasure to discuss them with you. What are just events to be implemented in near future? Directly today, after the completion of this fair, we'll have a conference in Kiev with the involvement of business and the government. Olena Shulak and Yaroslav Zhelezniak will be present there to discuss the issues of digitalization. Next event that's within the scope of the Ukraine-American Forum to discuss leaping ahead Ukraine talent business ecosystem. Another major event is planned by early June. Follow announcement about the role of the private sector in the process of recovery of Ukraine. And finally, what might be of interest? What are the directions of progress that can be used to account for the support of CIPE that is in the during this year? That's advocacy of priority, development of SME through consultations, training, communication platforms, etc., with a focus on relocated businesses. Third direction, enhancing economic empowerment of women. By the way, quite a new area of activities for CIPE, a focus and fight with corruption, compliance, and due diligence. If you have some ideas or want to discuss such issues with our team, we would be glad to see your projects. Here you can find information about contests or events. You can scan the QR code or find on the web, look for it on Facebook page to be aware of the opportunities offered by our organization. And we are also place such information or Hromadski Prostor. If you are interested in this in initiatives, will be in the same way. I would like to thank you for your attention, to thank our fantastic partners for your fantastic efforts you do in Ukraine. We march together towards the recovery of Ukraine. Thank you, Anastasia.
Before I give the floor to Anna, I will stress that we are closely following the security situation, and if and in case of alert, we'll inform you. There is a shelter here at this hotel, and you can go to level -2, that's the parking area, and you'll be safe there. But we'll ask you to proceed to the shelter only if the threat is direct. Otherwise, we shall continue our work, but those who wish can go to the -2 level. 64 participants plus 40 observers online. Our event today and information that we want to communicate to you is about opportunities for businesses and about opportunities for associations of entrepreneurs. So we are discussing two kinds of opportunities. And our next speaker from the Competitive Economy of Ukraine program is about that, Anna Glanstein. Thanks, Lubomir. I'm Anna Glanstein. I represent USAID program, Competitive Economy of Ukraine. I want to thank the Armed Forces of Ukraine for the very chance to be here, and I thank those who organize this event for the chance to tell you about what we propose. Our program has been covering the whole territory of Ukraine as of 2018. It was supposed to end this year, but it was prolonged until 2025. Our budget is $90 million. That's direct technical support and grants. Our aims are to foster competitive economy of Ukraine via MSC, via startups, by helping them to become more competitive out of Ukraine. We also support the development of transparent business climate. We provide technical support to different promising sectors of the Ukrainian economy. We support exports of the Ukrainian commodities. We support Ukraine's participation in the international trade. And we are also working with the authorities in order to streamline and simplify foreign trade procedures. Many rapid response grants have been launched recently for organizations that support businesses, and thus sort of a new platform appeared where we can understand what kind of grant programs to announce further. And let me now tell you about such programs in more detail. What you see right now on the screen is not final, but now we have the business support program. It's about relocation, renewal of production and sales, and on consulting and counseling regarding continuity of business activities of Ukraine. Together with the Office for Export Promotion, we are supporting women's enterprises and family enterprises. Today at 1 o'clock, another program will be launched, one to support expert alliances, and later this month we'll launch our program supporting trade events, and we are looking for those companies that are willing to participate in different international events, and we are going to facilitate relevant dialogue for better representation of Ukrainian commodities and services internationally. So continuity and renewal of business is valid until the 25th of July. That's the deadline for applications. The budget is 36 million million hryvnias. We are supporting continuous operation of businesses, their relocations, their restoration and renewal, in order to help businesses to move elsewhere during the time of war. We focus on IT, engineering, production of electronic appliances, production of furniture, of clothes, of footwear. In fact, there are no limitations regarding the sectors we cover. Services are also embraced. So money will be allocated to certification, to development of sales, to building up the capacities of businesses and of their human resources, digitalization, better advertising, etc. We are also waiting for applications from private entrepreneurs, private enterprises, limited liability companies. One company can apply just once. One grant is not more than 1.2 million hryvnias. First, we consider the proposal, and if the application is recommended for the second stage, the our team will directly reach the applicant in order to get additional information and more specific details for better understanding of the plans of the applicant. It's expected that a grant will be operational for 6 months. Co-funding is also possible, although that this is not a mandatory condition. However, there are some things that are not allowed, and you can visit our Facebook account or our webpage for more information. We cannot support construction or infrastructure activities, and we may not support what has been already compensated by others project-wise. Another grant program is for small enterprises and for enterprises run by women. This is a continuation of our program earlier launched in 2019. And now we also cover a family-owned enterprise. It's planned to issue 100 grant. The total is 1.5 million. One grant may be from $10,000 to $35,000, depending on the concept of the grantee. The grant projects are to last up to 12 months. The application is to be submitted in the Ukrainian language. The first deadline is May 19th, and the second deadline is June 16th, and the third one is on the 24th of July, and I think that implementation may begin in August. The needs are relocation, scaling, outreach, hitting international markets, innovations, and the sectors are production of cosmetic goods, of textiles, of household appliances, craft productions, food processing, IT, furniture, etc. These are just illustrative sectors. Any other applicants may also meet our requirements if feasible. What is women's business? It's a business owned by one woman or several women, and a family business is a business owned or managed by 2 or more members of the same family. All the criteria are published on our Facebook page. I call on you to avail of the opportunity. Please learn more about us. Please apply. Please ask your questions of our grant team. Here's our email address. Just in case you fail to understand some of the criteria, and please subscribe to our Facebook account. Thank you, Anna. We move on. The USAID program is well known in Ukraine. UND program is for businesses, for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Yulia Golovanova is the coordinator of this project, has the floor. Please present your initiatives and your toolkits.
Thank you, Lubomir. As a matter of fact, I would like to point out that I'm pleased to see you all at this event because it's my first public remarks at this offline event. I was very concerned, but when I see familiar faces and already persons I know, I feel myself quite better. I represent a project of UNDP project, strengthening of member business associations of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in Ukraine. A long heading, but as a matter of fact, you can quite easily find information about our project if you just take a smartphone, open Google, and write UNDP business associations. Indeed, our project is a niche base. If the UNDP program in Ukraine is as an entire set of projects aimed at different development spheres from the very start in 2014, when indeed the war started in our country. They were the first to provide support to eastern regions of Ukraine and to directly to business associations which had to start from scratch, like the Donetsk Commerce and Industry Chamber, which left Donetsk, and then they became our partners. And the first phase was till 2018. We supported 7 business relations, starting with the end of 2019. If my colleagues and partners told here about grant programs, I would like to point out that under UNDP program there are such grants. Mostly it's an exclusion than an accepted rule. The idea of our project was from the start that we do not give the fish to entrepreneurs to feed them, but we take them by hand and guide them to a river or a sea and give them a pole, just a fishing rod to teach them how to catch fish. And that's not to fund, but to train with all available resources to find ways how to become financially stable with the full-scale intervention into. We have made some exclusions in the contest terms and in the UNDP program. We have launched a project as a response to an evil that popped up here in Ukraine. That's the support to relocated businesses. At the same time, our project continued support to those organizations that started to cooperate with us since 2019. That's that opportunity that they can use, which if you are not a part of our project, as I said, if you Google business associations of UNDP, you'll find a list of 27 organizations which undergo training development supported by our project. Among these 27 organizations, there are such as commerce and industry chambers, regional chambers, as well as you can notice that we have some categorization. We have universal business association represented in our list and industry-based associations. In the first line, if there are entrepreneurs who are not members of business associations, I would like to invite you to become members of business associations, and then you can choose from this list that you can find there. On the whole, our approach at the first stage, in difference to the first stage, to facilitate in any way for business association not to attract not only new members and to unite entrepreneurs, but also be united with other organizations supporting business and business association to create coalitions and in a most powerful way to advocate SME interests. Anastasia mentioned about their accomplishments, about top 10 business priorities, and it's quite a successful advocacy project. I recall that back in 2019, traditionally when people go for vote in election, they do not read these election campaign materials. But I then read and I indeed found that all 10 top priorities for business were included into the then candidate for presidency, Zelensky, who is now incumbent president. That's when the business administrations unite in a coalition and start to promote. Then I invite you to find that list and to seek for partners for among those 27 organizations. In the second half of this year, we'll have an opportunity to hear about some of our organizations involved in this program. I would like to advertise this organization. So we have representatives in the first rows, Kharkiv Association of Private Employers, our iron concrete, and it's Kharkiv of the poultry and fodder producer. I hope you're here. Yes, please wave your hand. And the city with the big heart, Vinnytsia. An association of entrepreneurs, Stina, Mr. Pechalin. I would like to thank for their activities. It's the city that provided protection and location for many relocated business, including a businessman from Kharkiv. I would like to underscore that in addition that you can set up coalitions, be in partnership with these 27 organizations. I also encourage you to join efforts run on the SME National Platform, which we support as well. Because of our project, SME National Platform revised a bit its policy on membership and made a rather strong step to turn into a platform for business associations for efficiently establish dialogue with authorities at all levels and consolidate businesses within this network. Our 27 business relation initiated within training schools, on particular on 16 November 2020 by signing a declaration to the so-called voluntary single standard of the Statute of the Business Association of SME. That initiative of business association to raise that threshold of requirements to be complied to represent interests of SMEs, because it was only a declaration on intentions of developing such standards. But we do not want to be restricted only by our business association. We would like to encourage all NH who want to be part of to set up rules for yourself, not to be invented by others, to define yourself. What is important for you to be proudly named SME essays? Please follow us at the website of SME National Platform, because quite soon we'll start an effort of creating such standards by setting up working group by different reasons. I would like to thank you for your attention. Please be united, because only in that way we can have victories, including in the economic economic fields. The only thing I would like to think that we have a record, that's recording of this event after its completion and editing that will be put on the national platform over me. If you'd like to hear remarks made at this event to know more about the programs of donors, so you can do that. Very important to mark that in parallel we have the simultaneous interpreting of this event in English. That is, I don't know how technically, but it will be available to watch and to hear. Later we'll know about that and will inform you in the second half of this event. These materials can be used further on. Now we continue our panel discussion. We have Svetlana Stepashenko, who is head of Fit for Partnership with Germany Program Office in Ukraine. You have the floor.
Dear colleagues, thanks very much for the invitation to be here. I'm so pleased to see so many familiar faces, the faces of our partners, the faces of our participants, those who took part in our earlier programs and who are largely contributing to the social and economic development of their regions. Thanks again for the invitation. Thanks for our continuing cooperation for many years. This program is now marking 25 years of its activities in Ukraine, and we are really proud of all our graduates. But I'll tell you more about our graduates later. Today we already heard that some projects of the program are of the niche character. Our program is also a niche program because we are about partnerships with German businesses. We work with German SME who are interested in cooperative relations with Ukrainian SME. 17 different countries are participating in the program now, and we want our businesses to reach not only the German market but also the markets of other partner countries that are covered by our program as the instrument of foreign trade support of the German Ministry of Economy. That cooperates with the Ukrainian Ministry of Economy. We also work with the Ministry of Digitalization of Ukraine, and by the way, we can be very easily found on the business platform. I just wanted to refer you all to the business for you to do some searching there and to find not only Fit for Partnership with Germany but also some other programs that may be of use for SME. By the way, large enterprises also get in touch with us because we are very credible in Germany, and large businesses seek our help when they cannot open the door or the window of opportunity themselves. If they want to get into the German market. We are an accelerator of a kind. We provide many services, training services, for example. They are needed in order to better understand how to get into the German market. When we speak about the market of the EU, we understand that there is no EU market. EU market consists of specific national markets with their own business cultures, with their own nuances, with their own impartialities and prejudices. And in order to get into the German market, one has to know what button to press in the heads of the German businessmen in order to reach our aim. B2B is our role. Networking is also crucial. Network between our participants and our graduates. In fact, we are contacted by all kinds of representatives of the Ukrainian economy, and the only thing we can do is offering our services to the banking and finance sector of Ukraine, as well as the insurance sector. By the way, yesterday we had a meeting initiated by the Ministry of Digitalization. It addressed circular economy. So circular economy is one of the principal areas of our operation presently. And a very big construction group is now working with the Germans. And it's not only about construction, but other adjacent areas. 20 different Ukrainian enterprises are now exchanging their experience, and they are studying the experience of their German colleagues in terms of sanation of buildings, in terms of reconstruction in Ukraine, in terms of building of facilities that will allow operation under any conditions. We also have an agricultural and a processing group and a food industry group. They are exploring German green economy experience and energy efficiency projects. And together with the graduates of our program, we launched a project dubbed the Ukrainian Shelf in Germany. And this is a major task now. As for 4.0 industry, it's our format by default. And soon we'll launch our circular economy group. And we are really very attentive to the real needs of the Ukrainian businesses because we are well aware of the current situation. We work with the Ministry of Economy, with the Ministry of Digitalization, with Andrei Remezov's office, and we are very grateful to all our partners in the regions because with their help we convey information directly to SMEs. Although last year we were quite stunned, but what happened on the 24th of February, it took us only a month to digest the happenings, and then we understood that in spite of what's going on, we have to continue working to develop Ukraine and its economy, and our participants again signed agreements and contracts for more than 10 million euro, and this money will come into Ukraine, and this money will help to renew logistical chains. You know that some partners decided not to continue cooperation with Ukraine, but new partners appeared, and we continued our work in spite of all the difficulties. We began operating in Ukraine in 2001. We wanted to mark our 20th anniversary, but we couldn't do that because of the pandemic. And then the hostilities in Ukraine prevented us from getting together. But thanks to the armed forces of Ukraine, we are absolutely certain that we'll celebrate not only our 25th anniversary, but also our victory. The only thing I want to say in my presentation is that we are very proud of our graduates. Denis Michal, our Prime Minister, is also our graduate. Minister of Economy Yulia Sviridenko is also our graduate. So we promote not only business activities but also careers of our participants. Thank you. Thank you, dear colleagues. We all know that the US is a very big friend of Ukraine. We heard from the USAID program. Another big friend of Ukraine is the European Union, and apart from specific programs carried out by EU members, there are also multiple programs of the EU, and one of them is EU for Business. It's about SMEs. In the framework of this initiative, very much assistance is coming to Ukraine. So let me give the floor to Tatiana Onyshuk, Deputy Director of the Program on Application and Implementation of the Association Agreement between the EU and Ukraine in the field of trade. The floor is yours, Tatiana.
Thanks a lot for this invitation. Indeed, our program is a program funded jointly by the EU and the German government, and presently is implemented by GIZ, the German Federal Organization. You see in this slide that the funding of the program is about 56 million euros. Joint efforts of the EU and the government in Germany is aimed at the utilization implementation of the situation and developing the capacity of our economy in these difficult, dire times. Yeah. The beneficiaries of our program is the Ministry of Economy, and we have created over 100 partner networks with which we cooperate across the country. You can see in this slide what are the objectives, general and targeted goals of our program. I would like to inform that it has quite a wide scope and areas of activities, 5 components in our program. The first component and the second, that's cooperation at the national level with state institutions involved in developing of export activities, implemented national export strategies, and implementing the agreement on free trade with the EU. The second component, development of the infrastructure quality. We cooperate with all institutions involved in removing technical and administrative obstacles for the business. The Ministry of Economy and the National Authority for Meteorology and Standardization. These are the structures that help Ukrainian businesses to enter into foreign markets, and particularly in the EU market. The third and fourth, fifth component are more relevant for this today's event because they aimed at support of businesses, business associations, and organizations which provide support to businesses. The third component deals with the support of cluster initiatives. And diagnostics was carried out on this sector in our country, and it was established that there are quite many cluster initiatives in different spheres of our life. You can see that presently EU for Business supports 30 unique industry-based initiatives. We work with clusters, which are in the field of engineering, automation, machine learning, in the field of timber processing, and in the field of furniture production, fashion industry. There are many sectors which are supported by the organization through cluster initiatives. What are these events? We develop just dialogue on importing into foreign countries with foreign partners. We cooperate with Ukrainian Cluster Alliance in this field, which is a rather active entity in this field of cluster development for Ukraine. The fourth component is our cooperation with municipal communities. We have 9 piloted cities which we selected for implementing these pilot projects to enhance the ecosystem of businesses. Different tools are used in this sphere. We help to develop digital solutions by organizing portals, chatbots. When after the large-scale aggression against the Ukraine, we restructured plans that were agreed with our piloted cities before the war. These cities indeed agreed to restructure their efforts to be aimed at the needs of the present. To support relocated, chatbots were developed to find office spaces for businesses relocated, helped with preparing strategies for running trainings for relocated business on the issues of resilience and how to continue their operations. Sharing of experience with international experts, private-public dialogue was run, and within this scope we provide grants for programs based on contests, based on tenders. 43 grants were presented to our city communities. It is stated that we work the communities over from 100,000 to 200,000 inhabitants. So for this year, we can see just 20 grants are available for cities up to 45,000. 20 communities were selected and would implement their programs. Also, 8 cluster initiatives received grants to be implemented. These grants are to be implemented by at the end of this year. As for direct support to SME, many grant-based programs within our overall program EU for Business have been implemented and are to be implemented this year. Micro grants up to 4,000 euros have been implemented. That's in the number of 327 grants. Also, the Fund of the Eastern Europe has been the partner in this program with us. Big grants, 30 grants up to 25,000 euros. This month of May, we will finalize these contents for grants. Middle-sized grants up to 10,000 grants. 10 grants were available. A lot of consultations were provided to small and medium-sized businesses. During the COVID pandemic as well as after COVID. We can see just some of the initiatives in this slide. It's sharing of experience. This is made to Ukraine-based enterprises as well as foreign countries based. There were also discussions at the level of experts on cluster initiatives. You can find in this slide what are present opportunities for Ukrainian SMEs. Please follow our webpage on Facebook and also follow our GIZ portal to find more information. We can find also a list of platforms where you can find opportunities for youth. That's leveraged there. It's a platform administered by the Alliance of Ukrainian Entrepreneurs. Some partnerships have been already established by using this platform. I'm very thankful for your attention, and I hope that you will avail of these opportunities yourself provided by Opera. Thank you, Mrs. Tatiana. Well, we have.
Thanks very much. Two speeches remain, and we still need to allot some time to the questions. Stanislava Pidepregora, National Coordinator of SME Boost Initiative of IOM. Good afternoon. I represent IOM. It's a UN agency operating in Ukraine since 1996 to ensure regulated and safe migration. As of 2014, very many projects have been focusing on supporting displaced persons and affected communities. We also help the Ukrainian government to develop its policies. The principal aim of the department, the TAIC 4, is to improve the labor migration policy to support social integration of migrants. We also cooperate with many diaspora organizations and with Ukrainians abroad. However, right now, our focus is to help businesses in Ukraine to foster employment and access to jobs. We are now carrying out two projects. The first one is about development of SMEs and economic integration of the internally displaced person. Financial support is coming from the German government. The principal idea of the project is to support micro and small businesses for them to provide critical commodities and services to the population, ensuring jobs for displaced persons and others affected by the war. The budget is 10 million euro. The project will last 30 months. It began in November 2021 and will continue until May 2024. The donor is the German government, and the principal partners are the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine and the Ministry for Reintegration. Here you see the components of our project. Grant support comes first. We intend to give grants to 500 micro businesses. The grants are to be up to 4,500 euros. Small enterprises will be able to receive up to 20,000 euros, and we think there will be 175 of them. Soon there will be a competition or a contest for startups, and 60 startups will get grants up to 7,000 euro. In the framework of this project, we also provide consultations. 100 enterprises can receive such support. We cooperate with Kyiv School of Economy, with the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerces, with the Network of Informational Support to Businesses, and we provide individual and group consultations. The project also provides for trainings for startups and for newly established enterprises. 150 enterprises will receive such support, and we are now looking for partners willing to participate in this activity. As I said earlier, we also involve and engage the diaspora to help our businesses. We had some success stories with the referral of our grantees to business associations abroad or to the chambers of commerce. And this is what we're trying to step up. We also cooperate with the government directly, and we do joint research and provide joint recommendations. As for our geography, applicants from 10 regions can apply. 4 of them are in the west, some in the north. Recently, we added Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions. Other components of the projects are implemented throughout the government-controlled territory of Ukraine. As for our progress, right now we already have a portfolio of more than 400 grant cases. Other 300 are in the process of getting the first tranches. The circles show the regions that are leaders in terms of the number of grantees. This is about individual consultations by the Chamber of Commerce or Kyiv School of Economy. Our partners have rendered more than 100 consultations to the beneficiaries. These activities will last until the end of this year. You can visit the websites of our partners and apply to get advice from them. We also did research regarding barriers to employment of IDPs. This research was done together with the Ministry of Economy, the Employment Service, and Kyiv School of Economy. The results will be published soon. We also organize different business events. We work with the business centers, with the regional development agencies, with the regional chambers of commerce, and as I said earlier, we cooperate with the diaspora. And this is our second project, solutions in the security sector in Ukraine. This project is financed by the government of Japan. Other components of the project are carried out by other departments of our mission. The budget is 4 million. The project is for 9 months. Only here you see the number of beneficiaries, 3,700 direct beneficiaries and more than 1 million indirect beneficiaries. The Ministry of Social Policy, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the regional administrations, the local authorities and employment centers are our partners. The components of the projects are R&D, how war affects the security, means of sustenance. This is to requalify or to provide refresher courses to IDPs and to micro and small businesses. Protection is about information services to the victims of gender-based violence or of the trafficking in human beings. And we also cooperate with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and its consulates abroad. This project embraces the city of Kyiv, two communities in Kyiv region, Chernihiv community, Poltava and Kremenchuk communities. We work with those who have lost their means of sustenance because of the war, and we work with IDPs, with those who return to their homeland after relocation, to families with many children, to people with disability and others. 30 micro and small businesses will be eligible for grant support. Micro businesses will get up to $7,000, small businesses up to $20,000. We also envisage a series of trainings and refresher courses. They will embrace 300 people in the 6 above-named communities, and after such trainings, these people may receive a certain equipment in order to work in the field they have selected or to launch an own business. That's all I wanted to impart. Thanks very much. May I add that our competition is still open and you can apply until the end of October of this year. But please, if you apply, do that as soon as possible because our resources are limited. The Dear Business resource carries information about our project as well as IOM's web page. It also features all the necessary links. Thanks for your attention.
We have yet another presentation. Thank you, Ruslana, that you have found opportunity to join. Ruslana Velichko-Trifanyuk, First Deputy Executive Director of the Ukrainian Veterans Fund. So what are within your portfolio? Can one raise the hand who has been a veteran or has the status of their combatants? Well, I've seen familiar faces. Will you tell me? Are you all businessmen? There are many business associations represented here. Business Alliance. Who of you are not against to hire veterans? Who are against hiring veterans? Well, you see, on the whole, why I'm raising such questions. Starting our activities, we paid attention that different social surveys, studies were made. And always a question was put, what is the attitude to the armed forces of Ukraine? But no one studied or surveyed what was about the people who served in the armed forces, who made their contribution to the defense of the country. What is going on next with such individuals? We started to just applied to rating sociological company that many of the companies are ready to hire veterans. But I have another problem. We also survey veterans who are not in just at the front line and who are not taking part in the armed forces, in the defense. They are looking for jobs. Therefore, I would like to underline it separately. And in particular, there is such a situation. Of course, we don't want to say to all that you would hire under some terms, although we will survey also employers on what terms they would hire veterans. What should be done by the government to encourage this reintegration of veterans into civilian lives? It's quite, it will be a major challenge for the society and the state to integrate veterans into the life. The number of veterans increased considerably, which is not a modest indicator. It won't be in a way it was in 2014 or 2015 to say that we were not sending you there. There will be many of them. Now combat activities are also more dynamic, and we understand we are all adults, understand that also casualties are bigger. Also, there are many families which have relatives killed, and also there are many orphaned kids as well. It won't be possible to silence this problem as we did it in the past. We proceeded in the way, but I have Ukrainian Veterans Fund is a state-run institution registered last year on the 2nd of February 2022, which started its activity that's about last year in April. Then we started our first competitions for veterans businesses and for NGOs, organizations who work with the relatives of or families where their relatives died. And also we run 3 competitions. We have micro funding for businesses where we can get a smaller amount of finance for micro from micro funding. Quite small amounts. Somehow let's talk about it. It's about 20,000. But you can imagine there are quite many people, members of the veterans' families, who left the frontline areas without anything by buying something at these 20,000 hryvnias. They still consider that for them, then it was a push not to be in despair. We should understand all that veterans and members of their families, for them it's very important that they should be should be guided, and they should have a hand of support. During the first year of our operation, actually from last October, when we received assignments from the budget, we have chosen 53 DAS winners, and these are 49 million hryvnias, and top 3 in 4 spheres of veterans business. It's catering, different cafeteria, pizzerias. These are also agricultural produce and agricultural processing businesses. Why veterans are important, and we understand that the war is waged also in the field of technologies. There are many ideas, and many veterans businesses work based on technologies. These are drones and other things, and we have a single business, which is a private business which deals with the mining, and which has been certified by the government. many hire their services because elements of the defense and security structures are not capable to cope with that. We have planned 9 competitions in 6 program areas, and there should be over 170 winners. We have carried out one of the competitions already. One of the competitions was for the NGOs and and we have a separate area for businesses and requalification, training and mentorship support for entrepreneurs. Different NGOs might apply, which are operating in Ukraine and which have experience of doing that. We will support individual entrepreneurs involved in manufacturing fields which have not been registered, and we will encourage them to be registered because we should have understanding what are the fields of their occupation. If a veteran deals with is involved in some manufacturing field like plumbing, just construction, means quick money, they can understand that. Motor vehicle drivers know that to buy a set of tools, it requires a lot of money. But for some just activities, we'll provide money. But for that, you need to be registered officially. And we will also encourage, and we are already supporting that the veterans business also hires veterans themselves. A lot of civilian businesses experience some challenges in hiring veterans. Well, yes, we had 47 applications for veterans that from in the amount of from 500,000 to 1.5 million, and we had 55 applications from NGOs. As all of us, we cooperate with by late May, we will launch a program. We have confronted a situation after leadership program. We then sit with veterans, and we just inform them how to draw documents, how to sign documents, how to create such documents manually. We'll have training on taxations, registration. There is a request from the veterans business to provide this training. We are oriented at data of our surveys of veterans and civic oriented in just within the general public. We are based in our activities just following that we are a state-run organization. For all our speakers on the veterans business, excuse me, just I'm a lobbyist of the veterans business, excuse me for advocating it. We have a small aspect that we are a budgeted institution for, and it's rather difficult for us to work with us with regards to the fields of reporting. But we will carry out auditing for them as well. I think that all understand challenges caused by the war and challenges there will be after the end of the war, when our boys and girls return from the front line. We are to take into account. I would like to thank all the participants for their presentations, for their remarks. Well, and unfortunately, we're limited by time, but still there is some time for putting some questions. One rhetoric question and one request to the audience. And I'd like to remind you all that on behalf of the National Platform SME, we address you to organize separate online meetings with each product, with each donor organizations, during which you can inform in detail about tools and opportunities offered by your organizations. Your projects, your programs will be a good basis. As all refer to Dear Business, I would also refer to Dear Business software through which to organize these online meetings. As I say, it will be a more efficient way to provide for a wider coverage. And all organization, project, and program will have an opportunity to inform specifically what is ordered from comments via chats, which I am able to read. All are very interested in plans for the coming year, not only about competitions run now or about the results of considering applications, but are interested in plans, not for just coming months, but just for the coming entire year. A few questions were also put, not to know about organization and grants provided, but to familiarize in detail about tools. How can these tools can be acquired, and to what should be attention paid if there is a high level of rejection? Then to know about practical recommendations, practical comments for applicants to know better about opportunities offered. So, and the question is about the plans for the coming year and to inform in detail about such instruments. One of the questions from the chat to the USAID program competitive economy of the country. But it is possible at this event, such events, to ask about funding on the second-hand equipment. Correct question. Well, thank you for this question.
So only new equipment is covered. This is my short reply. Well, thank you very much for this brief answer. Everything is understandable. Two questions from the audience. Please be brief, and it's just a remark for all donors. Please make your application related requirements simpler. As IUM did, my farmers, the members of my association, easily managed it and started receiving grants. Let that be an example for all others. Thanks for your remark. And what about anti-corruption compliance in accordance with the U.S. standards? I think you don't have relevant experience yet. I want to ask the donors to respond to our applications in a quicker manner. Sometimes we get answers with a delay of 9 months. There is also a requirement to indicate whether applications were sent to other organizations. Occasionally, this becomes a ground for a negative decision. And my other point concerns those business people who are not Ukrainian nationals. Many of them are active in the business area. so I not cover them. My question is for Ruslana. One of the conditions of your ministry is that the business has to be established by a veteran or a member of his or her family. Have you considered any ideas regarding amending these regulations? Well, thank you very much for your inputs. Yes, it's easier for a foreigner to launch a business in Ukraine than to get Ukrainian citizenship. It's a rhetorical question, and I don't think that anyone will try to answer it right now. But donors should be aware that there are very many persons without Ukrainian citizenship or who are stateless persons and they do business in Ukraine, and something has to be done in this regard. Ruslana, what about you? About supporting those businesses who give jobs to veterans. Presently, in the legislation, there is no notion of veteran business. A draft law was submitted by our ministry, but it's now in the respective standing committee of the parliament. We can look at the U.S. experience. There, even an enterprise that has no set number of veterans in its labor force is not to participate in public procurements. There are different formats and they are to be discussed. We always organized public discussions before making any important decisions. Well, I think a good parallel is about hiring people with disability and the irrelevant benefits or fringes for such businesses. Maybe it's worth discussing this analogy. We have time for just one question more. A question for Ruslana. How to confirm the veteran's status if digital signatures only are accepted? Please visit the web page of our fund. You'll find all the details there. For every status, there is an ID, in fact. And one last question. It's a comment. Our association has 1,400 women members, so please reply to the applications because applicants are often unaware of the destiny of their applications. Let's thank all our panelists for their very focused presentations. Please organize follow-up online meetings for longer discussion of your formats and of your initiatives. There are other donor organizations present here who did not have a chance to present together, so I call on you to organize such online meetings. I think that the business of the National Platform will take care of proper coverage. I thank everybody. I thank those who asked questions. We break now for 15 minutes to enjoy our coffee. Thank you.